Yes, good morning. Today we are going to read When Calls the Heart by Jannete Oke, Chapter 19, The Living Mousetrap. Let's start. The following morning, I got up to find that the furry squatters had been prancing around on my cupboard top. I had to do something. There simply was no living with them. I could not bear sharing my cozy home with the mice. I again washed and boiled all of my dishes and scrubbed and rubbed everything that I imagined they might have touched. With a great deal of difficulty, I moved two empty metal trunks from my bedroom and placed all of the dishes from the cupboard in one and all of the foodstuffs that I could fit into the other. Surely the mice will not be able to get in there, I determined as I closed the lids with a bang and marched over to my school, too upset to bother about breakfast. By the time the students began to arrive, I had calmed down a bit and was able to welcome them with a smile. The next 2 days went well, though it was a nuisance to be digging around in the trunks every time I fixed a meal. On Wednesday, Lars brought me a fresh supply of produce and stared in amazement as I placed bread, cheese, and eggs in my large trunk. I have mice, I informed him as I went to place the milk, cream, and butter in the metal pail with the lid in the dugout on the north end of the house. "Do I need a cat?" he asked, and I wonder why I hadn't thought of that. "Do you have one that I could borrow?" "We have lots. More all the time." I think about it. We went to the classroom together. On Thursday morning, I awoke to find a drowned mouse in my slope bucket. I was horrified as I stared at the soggy lump of lifeless fur. Well, at least it wasn't my water pail, I thought as I carried my slow bucket to the farthest corner of the school grounds and dumped it. I half expected the dead mouse to jump up and dash for my house, but fortunately it stayed put. I turned and ran for the house myself. I wanted to scrub out the slope bucket with soapy water, but that seemed foolish, so I just rinsed it a bit and set it a little farther away from my eating area. Again, I skipped breakfast and went right to school. That night, I laid aside all of my reserve and headed over to the Petersons to beg, borrow, or steal a cat. The one that Lars offered me was rather mangy looking, a big yellow thing. "She be a good mouser," he maintained, and I didn't doubt him for a moment. He carried her home for me, an act that I appreciated very much. I would rather have had one of the many cute little kittens, but Lars talked me out of that. "No good for mice," he said. I took his word for it. Lars deposited the large, hungry-looking cat in my kitchen and turned to go. "Watch the door," he cautioned. "If she get out, she run home." I watched the door. Lars left and the cat stayed. Later I almost wished that she had gone. She prowled and yowled until I thought I wouldn't be able to stand another minute of it. Still, if she cleared my house of mice, the noise and commotion would be worth it. At bedtime, I shut my door against her nervous activity. I could hear her prowling and climbing, jumping and mewing, and I mentally followed her about the room. My chair, my table, my cupboard, my trunk. That cat didn't respect a single piece of furniture. And then I heard a dreadful crash. If that was my teapot, was my first thought as I reached for a match to light the lamp. Fortunately, it was only a chipped cup that I had neglected to remove from the table. I swept up the broken pieces and dumped them into the stove. I took my teapot into the bedroom and carefully placed it in the trunk with my books. Then I blew out the lamp and crawled back into bed. I tried to force my thoughts away from the restless cat as it prowled about my house. "No mice will show tonight," I thought, with all of that racket going on. I was wrong. About 4 in the morning, I was awakened by a commotion in my kitchen, and then a sharp, sickening squeak or fright or pain. The cat had pounced. The dreadful sound reverberated through my brain long after the cat had decided to call it a night. What an awful thing to be a small mouse caught by a mammoth cat. In the morning, my revulsion toward the incident hung over me like a cloud. I delayed getting up for as long as I dared. I was sure that I would find my kitchen strewn with dead mice. I didn't. Puss was still there, looking hungry and lean. There was no evidence of her nocturnal hunting. I was nearing the conclusion that I must have imagined the sound in the night when my tidying brought me to my favorite chair. At first, I supposed that a small twig had somehow found its way onto the seat. I reached down and picked it up. It was in my hand before I recognized it. The tail of a mouse. The cat had dared to have her dinner right where I did my evening relaxing. That did it. I went to my door and, feeling a little foolish, opened it slightly and called the cat. As she slinked out and started running for home, I asked forgiveness of the mice. Surely there was a more civilized way of getting rid of them. One thing I knew for sure, there must be a quieter way. So chapter 19 is over. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe the video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.